Okay, so we resume now the calculations. Now we're doing the third month for every possible starting inventory. We become a little bit less formal. We say, okay, let's use the expression that we see in front of us. I do want to point out that in the textbook or various textbooks, people make up tables to try to make the computation easier. I find that to make sure that I'm doing things right, I like using the same notation as I showing here. So f of 3, 0, I know it's going to be a minimum. And what can I possibly do? If I have none in inventory and I have a demand of 2, well, I have to produce at least 2 units. And so one of the things in dynamic programming is if you're doing it by hand, you have to be thinking all the time. It requires some concentration not to make mistakes. You have to realize that, okay, what are the choices that I have to make? I have to decide to either make 2, so I've got to pay my setup cost, my production cost, and then I'm going to end up at the beginning of month 4, I'm going to end up with 0. Now I'm not going to look that up right away. I'm going to put this in as in a symbolic form. So I'll just worry about the immediate cost here. So this is the immediate cost if I make 3 units, and then I will have 1 unit left. And this is what I meant by not having to look at the transition equation. I can do that in my head. This is I've produced 4. I'll have 2 left. This is I produce 5, and I can't produce more than 5. So this is I'm bound by my maximum production, and then that leaves me 3 in inventory. And then I can make the calculation by looking up F40, F41, F42, F43 from the previous exercise, and I can calculate the numbers, and then I can decide, okay, 12 is the lowest one, and so if I have none in inventory, then I would produce only 2 at month 3, and that's the optimum decision. And this goes through for all of the possible initial inventories at the beginning of month 3. And it's just a matter of following. It's quite straightforward. I'm not going to spell it all out. And here you see that the lowest is 10.5. So now I would maximize. If I have 1 unit in inventory, then if I have 1 in inventory, I got to produce at least 1. So this is producing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the maximum that I can produce. And of those, producing 5 is the best thing to do. And that's 10.5. And then if I happen to have 1 unit in inventory at the beginning of the 3rd month, I would produce 5 units. And then I carry on through to the next situation and the next situation. And similar here I would produce none. Now, in case you're thinking of shortcuts and you see a pattern and you say, hey, you're either producing maximum or minimum, so far that is the case. And again, we're at the extremes. So this is the calculations that you have to make, and they're not complicated. I will separate this out into several videos, and you can stop the video as you see fit and try to guess what the next line will be on your own, and then check that it is correct.